New track from Dream Theater, Midnight Messiah. Man, this was a good song. I like this a lot. So it starts off very ominous. You're not really sure what's going to happen. You hear this voice. It's talking kind of fast and frantic. A guitar part comes in, but it's also kind of slow and ominous. You're still not sure where this is going to go, what kind of song this is. And then it kicks in, and it has a uber melodic groove. It's very headbanging, gallopy. It reminds me a little bit of a mix of As I Am and In the Presence of Enemies Part 2. Those two songs both I kind of hear as I'm listening, to the groove as it kicks in. The first verse comes and it's pretty basic for a Dream Theater song. It's nothing too crazy. There is a pretty dramatic tempo change. The tempo change almost reminds me of some of the early, like the first When Dream and Dame Unite Dream Theater album, when they do some of the weird tempo changes where it just kind of changes abruptly. It goes to a much faster tempo, and the drum is a pretty straight drum beat. Again, pretty straight for Dream Theater. I feel like in that fast part, but I like it. The keys in the fast part have a very organ, like Deep Purple sounding old organ sound, very rock and roll organ. It's very, very cool. I like it a lot. You get some more tempo changes here or there. Again, nothing too dramatic, too crazy. Every now and again, I get little things that sound like the Burning My Soul sound to me, like the melody of Burning My Soul from Dream Theater, not the weird talk box effect that he uses. Throughout the song, actually, there's these little traces of Falling into Infinity. Falling into Infinity, if you're a Dream Theater fan, that was probably the most, commercially conscious sounding Dream Theater record. And I would say this song is very mature. There's, it's progressive, it's heavy, it does all the Dream Theater stuff, it does it awesome, but it does it all very tastefully. There's no super crazy dramatic time changes or anything too wild. And that's when I hear some of these little melodic things they have. It reminds me of the melodic stuff they did in Falling into Infinity record. There's the organ part I mentioned, but there's also a lot of really clean piano parts when it's really heavy. And I think that sounds awesome when they're playing these really heavy guitar riffs and these really heavy parts and this really clean piano. I also don't think they tune down super low. I could be wrong, but it doesn't sound like a super low tuned guitar or like a 8-9 string guitar. It sounds pretty normal. Could be 7 string, maybe could be a 6 string tuned down a little bit, but I don't think it's tuned down too much. You get to the guitar solo, and the first half of the guitar solo is pretty straightforward. It reminded me of a kind of a Racer X Paul Gilbert style guitar solo a little bit. And then the second half of the guitar solo, there's the unison. I just start to think like, oh, that was pretty tame and calm really for John Petrucci. But then there's the unison part with the keys, and I don't know what's going on. It sounds crazy. I think it's some kind of super fast tapping thing, and he's doing it and Jordan's doing it, but it sounds insane. I'd have to like watch it live to figure out like what the heck's going on. But I think I hear him say "Strange Deja Vu" at one point. I think I hear him say "This Dying Soul" at one point. So there's some nods, I think, to past stuff. There's even some riffs that sound like they're, nods to past things here and there. But man, Mike Portnoy's back in the band. I like it. It sounds like an awesome mix of all the cool things Dream Theater does. It's just progressive enough. It's just heavy enough. It's just long enough. It's 7 minutes. It's not too crazy. It's very approachable for if you're not a Dream Theater fan, but you're into heavy music. If you're somebody who's into like Tool or Mastodon or I don't know, you probably like Dream Theater already, but if you didn't and you're into some of the heavier music that's on the radio, but is a little bit longer, a little bit more out there, you probably love this. I really enjoyed it. I'm sure there's Dream Theater fans that are going to say it's not new enough, it's not different enough, it plays on too many old things, but I thought it was perfect. It's exactly what I wanted in a Dream Theater song. So I would go check it out.